Hi everyone, I'm JC Maslick. Welcome to this session, STEAMMakers, Infusing Creativity into the Classroom. I'm so excited to participate in today's Education Closet event and really ecstatic to be a part of the Arts and Integration STEAM Conference. To provide just a little bit of background on me, I come to you with 20 years of experience at the classroom, building, and district level. I've worked as a classroom teacher, a reading specialist, a curriculum developer, a principal, and an assistant superintendent. I consider myself to be an early implementer of STEAM learning as my previous school opened its makerspace back in 2010. I've published several articles on the topic since then and published my first book with Core One Press called STEAMMakers, with a goal to develop creativity and innovation through STEAM and maker education. I'm excited to share with you some of the things that I've learned through this process and hope that the ideas and resources that I'll share with you today will be helpful on your STEAM maker journey. My website, STEAMMakers.com, has a lot of resources that I'll reference today, and you can also check out my Pinterest page that also has a lot of great connections to STEAM and STEM education. We are at a really critical time in education as schools are returning to the hands-on learning, creativity, and meaningful learning experiences for young people. Educators are embracing the ideas of collaboration and project-based learning and innovation as a means to prepare young people for the future. One way that this is happening is through the integration of STEAM. Formerly STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, educators now recognize the importance of adding the A for the arts. This creative aspect is often the connection needed for students who may be out-of-the-box thinkers. I particularly like Georgette Yackman's definition as she says, science and technology are interpreted through engineering and the arts, all based in mathematical elements. As the DIY movement increases in popularity, the maker movement is finding its way into schools, and many districts are designing maker spaces as centers for creative, hands-on learning. Making is really that opportunity to foster student creativity, curiosity, and innovation through messing around, building, designing, hacking, deconstructing, and all of those things are now happening in our schools. I believe that when STEAM and maker education intersect, really powerful learning takes place. As students learn the content and the interconnected nature of STEAM subjects, they can then apply that learning through making experiences. And for our students, this means 100% engagement. In my book, I talk about some of the things that you won't hear in a STEAM maker classroom. Things like, I'm done, or this is boring. Why do I have to do this? What's this have to do with anything in my life? But when kids are building, programming, experimenting, and making, they are fully engaged. You'll hear things like, can I take this home? Is this class over already? I can't wait to come back tomorrow. After implementing STEAM Maker programs now in 2 different school districts, there are several things that I believe that you need to consider. The 5 S's are space, stuff, storage, support, and sustainability. Some of these were borrowed from Range and Smith's article in 2014. I've put my own twist on it, highlighting those 5 S's, and we'll talk about those in a little more depth. The first S is space. Some schools have the availability to design colorful learning spaces for students. This might happen in classrooms or hallways or libraries. As you can see these pictures here, really brightly colored classrooms where students have access to a variety of materials. The same is happening in libraries across the country. Libraries are being transformed into new and unique learning spaces with Lego walls and robotics kits and Connects building projects. But some schools aren't fortunate enough to have spaces like these and might need to look a little bit differently at how they're going to take STEAM maker learning into the classroom. So thinking about things like alternatives, maker carts can be one solution. There's some examples here that they come in many different shapes and sizes, but imagine having a maker cart that can be moved throughout a hallway and being accessible to lots of different ages or grade levels of students. STEAM maker learning can also go on the road. Mobile fabrication labs and STEAM trucks take learning out into the community or even to rural schools that don't have access to STEAM initiatives, that some areas do. But the bottom line is there's no one right way to do it. Carve out a space that works for you, in your classroom, in your hallway, on a cart. The next S is for stuff. Materials for makerspaces can range from toilet paper rolls to 3D printers. Schools need to determine what their focus is. If you want to focus on tinkering and upcycling, maybe ask for donations from parents or community. Recyclable items that can be found at home. If your school wants to focus on digital fabrication and include more tech-related gadgets, then you'll probably need to create a plan for purchasing and housing those materials. My Makerspace supply list will be available to all participants, and it's a simple starting point for educators. In the past, we've used everyday materials to construct water filtration systems and recyclable items used to design kaleidoscopes. Deconstruction has also been a hot topic for our students. They love our take-apart station where they're deconstructing microwaves, radios, or electronic toys. Be careful though. As one student demonstrated to us, we had a bank of computers, and on one of them there was a Post-it note that said, "Fix it." So one of our 6th graders thought that meant he could take apart the hard drive and try to fix it himself. Little did he know that that Post-it note was there for our tech department to fix, and they weren't too happy when they found it all in pieces, but it was a great learning experience for that student. In June of 2015, President Obama called for the first ever Week of Making. Our school really embraced that challenge and had over 12 different making projects happening in our schools. Here are some pictures of just a few of those. Our phys ed teacher really embraced the challenge and had his students design and build a miniature golf course, which was then played by all of our students during the last week of school. The bottom picture there shows our backyard design challenge, where our students had to meet certain criteria and use recycled materials to design a backyard model. It included things, as you can see there, as a deck, a pool, a swing set, different things that families would want to have. And the students were able to then present their models to a panel of experts. Again, bringing in that real world connection. And lastly, our students found a problem. There wasn't enough storage in our makerspace, so they decided that they would design a shelving unit to display projects. So there you see the shelf in process there of being made. Our STEAMMakers space also housed some commercial items, and these were a great entry point for youngsters who maybe needed a more standard approach, including directions, step-by-step, more concrete. So we used things like Scratch, Rock and Bach, Connects, Snap Circuits, Lego We Do, robotics kits, and Fisher Technic. Just one short story to share about the Rockenbach product. If you're not familiar with it, please go to their website and check it out. We've had great experience with this company, so much that one of our 2nd grade teachers had some Rockenbach things at home for his own children. He brought them in to share with his students, and the students just loved them. They decided to write a letter to the president of the company, Rockenbach. The teacher had them write persuasive letters to tell them how much they liked the product and see if they would share any with us. And we were so grateful that the president wrote back to our students and did donate some materials to our school. But again, it showed our students that they have the power to communicate with others in the real world. And the result was that they were able to bring some really great tools back to our school. Technology can also be a great support to STEAMMake learning. Although it's not a requirement, our students did have the luxury of having an active table where they could work in small groups on projects. We also had an iPad cart where we had students using apps like Tinkerbox and App Inventor, really great for STEAM-minded students. We used Scratch and Code.org to support early coding and programming skills with students as young as kindergarten. The next S is for storage, a huge consideration once you've decided on the stuff. So you'll not only need to consider where you're going to store your tools and materials, but where you'll house the projects that are in process. The green picture, the green wall picture there, full of storage is actually from a university. West Liberty University has a makerspace in their College of Education, a great learning environment for undergraduates who are pursuing a degree in education. The last S's stand for support and sustainability. As your school district begins to implement STEAM making, you'll need to consider the supports that you will need to have in place to sustain your program goals over time. Thinking about things like grants and partnerships are very important to moving your STEAM maker idea forward. In Pittsburgh, where I'm from, the Remake Learning Network is a great organization that brings together schools, museums, and other organizations to develop innovative learning opportunities for young people. Their site also shares information about grants and professional learning opportunities. In the 2 districts that I worked in, we've really focused on the 3 Ps: people, programs, and partnerships. Now, these will look different in every district, but the concepts are essentially the same. Use the people in your school community to build your STEAMMaker network. Design innovative programs before, during, after school to engage your students and their families. Build relationships with community organizations, corporations, universities, museums, and other groups to create partnerships that will support your students both in and out of school. For us, professional development was a transformational component. We were very fortunate to partner with the Make Shop at the Pittsburgh Children's Museum and receive ongoing professional development from their teaching artists. We also participated in their free Maker Boot Camp. You might want to check out what groups in your area might offer similar supports in your STEAMMaker journey. We were lucky to learn about woodworking, sewing, circuitry, and digital animation from some true experts. In turn, we also had a lot of in-house professional development that we offered to push teachers to think creatively and collaborate as makers and designers. Teachers learned about motors and circuits and constructed their own drawbots. They used recyclable materials and cardboard to construct spaceships, and they learned stop-motion animation using iPads. But our teachers weren't the only ones who took on a leadership role and developed STEAMMaker experiences for students. Our parents also were actively involved. They led student workshops on cultural arts and sewing, and even planned science, STEM-related activities for our students. We also used our parents as mentor makers. Adults, maybe, who have specific expertise that could help to grow our students in areas like video game design or carpentry in the arts. We also took that idea and expanded it to create mentors within our student body, as our 4th graders served as tech buddies to our kindergarten students. Here in this photo, you see a 4th grade student explaining to a kindergartner how to do stop-motion animation for a project that they're working on. We also made a strong effort to engage local resources in our learning opportunities. We contacted companies and universities in our area and talked to them about how they could support STEAM learning for our students. For example, Shell Games is a Pittsburgh-based video game design company. We had them come in and work with our students to talk about how they develop a video game. Our students got to play test the game and give feedback to the actual designers, a really powerful learning opportunity for them. We also connected with Carnegie Mellon University, where they were designing a better wheelchair design for people with disabilities. Our students got to see a model of that, see it in the design process, and talk with the inventors about the changes that they were making to their model. We've also connected with animal friends and the Audubon Society, having our students work with animals in our area, having them develop programs to support environmental literacy. So being able to connect our students with the experts in the field, but also for allowing them to see that the careers that are out there for them upon graduation. This process for us was really shifting our mindset. STEAM making requires that you consider the thinking, the building, the design, the experimentation, and collaboration and discovery required of STEAMMaker journey. I hope that you'll contact me or follow me on Twitter. Check out more resources on STEAMMakers.com, and I wish you the best as you go on your STEAMMaker journey. Thank you and have a great day.